Hello, today we are going to talk about volume of a cylinder. This is Chapter 8, Lesson 1. Let's get started. So, the first thing you want to know is the formula for a cylinder, okay? At least for the volume of a cylinder. And that formula is pi times r squared times height. Pi r squared times the height, okay? And essentially what we need to know is that the height usually is written over here. The height is this distance here. The radius is this distance here. Now, we're not always given the radius. Sometimes we're given the diameter, which is the entire distance across, okay? Which means then if you have a diameter problem, you divide it by 2 and you'll get the radius, and then you can use the formula. But you have to have the radius, not the diameter. And diameter is a very common problem. They give you all the way across is 10 inches when you really only need the 5, halfway across, okay? Now, and this is a note slide, so how to use the formula to find the volume? Well, find the radius. And I only say that because, half the time it's given to you, the other half the diameter is given to you. Just take the diameter, divide it by 2. That will give you the radius. You're going to put all the numbers into the formula. You're going to square the radius. You're going to multiply the height by the height. Then you're going to multiply by pi, or if your calculator doesn't have a pi button, 3.14. Okay. If you have a newer calculator, you can hit all three. You can put all of it in one shot and get the answer just like that. But in the steps, I'm going to show you each individual step. That way, if you're not quite sure how to use the calculator in one shot, you'll know how to do this. Okay. So let's see what these look like. Now, in this first example, I just want you to watch. Okay. So you can put your pencils down. And again, if you needed to pause the video to get this written down, a picture's probably good. That's not a bad idea. And when you're ready to go, hit play, and then we'll try this problem. So just watch this problem. Remember, here's the formula. Volume equals pi times radius squared times height. Pi r squared h. And we're going to put the numbers in. Pi is not a variable. Pi is a number. It's 3.14. We just use this symbol for it. Okay? So my radius is 5. My height is 8.3. So I'm putting 5 here, putting in 8.3. I'm then going to square this radius. 5 squared is 25. I'm then going to multiply these two values together, and I get pi times 207.5. And then the last thing I'm going to do is take this number, multiply it by either the pi symbol in your calculator or by 3.14. And when I do that, I get 651.9, and the label here is going to be centimeters cubed because we have 3 different values. So centimeters times centimeters times centimeters is centimeters cubed. Okay? Now, I want you to try on your notes this problem right here. It's the same problem. You're given the radius, you're given the height. Plug them into this formula and see what you get. So pause the video, work the problem. When you're done, hit play and check out your answer. All right, so I am taking the radius. I'm substituting in for r, and I'm substituting 1 point in for h. I'm going to square this value first. I'm going to multiply these two numbers, 9 times 1.8. I'm then going to multiply 16.2 by pi. Again, if you know how to use your calculator, you can put it all in here and arrive at the right answer. Okay? And I get 16.2 times 3.14 or times pi is 50.9. In this case, it's inches cubed. Okay? And that's how you're going to solve these volume problems. Okay? Now, if we're given the diameter. So same kind of problem. All right, here's a picture. And now instead of giving the radius, they're giving us the diameter all the way across. Okay? So essentially what they're telling us is that this entire distance here, I can't believe how straight I just drew that line. This entire distance here is 12. All right, which means that each little piece of this is 6 and 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. So I know then that the radius is 6, okay? And that gives me essentially that. And now it becomes the same problem we did last time. All right, we start with our formula, pi r squared times h. Plug these numbers in using 6 for the radius, and the height is 5. Square this is 36. Oh, I still have 9 here. That should be a 5. I'm going to change that super fast. That should have been a 5. I apologize. Hopefully I did the rest of the problem properly. I think I did. All right, 36 times 5 is 180, so I did not. So I got to fix that too. All right, so I think I got that fixed. So again, radius is 6. We plug these numbers in. That last prime had a 9. I didn't change it, and then I just finished it with a 9, so that was no good. 36 times 5 is 180. Pi times 180 is 565.5, and this is millimeters cubed because, again, we have 3 different units, not different units, but 3 units, millimeters times millimeters times millimeters, millimeters cubed. All right. Now, let's move on to, actually, there's 2 here and 1 here. That's how we get the cubed. Anyway, let's move on to the next problem. So you're going to try this diameter problem. Hopefully I have everything written in here properly. So pause the video, give it a shot, and when you're ready, push play. All right, so again, here's our picture. Again, this time we are given the diameter, which in this case is 9. So that means each piece is 4.5, or 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. All right, so we now have our radius. Start with that. We're going to plug these numbers in, and we have that. And 4.5 squared is 20.25 times 3 is 60.75. I'm then going to multiply that by the pi. And again, if you know what you're doing, you can put all this in your calculator in one shot. And we get 190.9, in this case, inches cubed. Now, it wouldn't be algebra without giving you an algebra problem. So some problems, we are given the volume. In this case, you're going to plug given values into the formula. So one of those given values is going to be volume. You're going to multiply your given values on the right side. So it's either height or radius and pi. You're not going to know either the height or the radius. If you're given the radius, you're going to have to square that before multiplying, order of operations. And then we're going to solve for the missing variable. That could be dividing by both sides, and actually can be, if you're not given the radius, you're given the height, you might have to square root both sides as well. You will have to square root both sides as well. So let's take a look at what a problem like this looks like. So here it is. We're being told that the volume is 100 centimeters cubed, and that its radius is 2 and its height is h. So we don't know the height in this one. All right. So let's give this a shot. Start with your formula. We're going to put 100 here. We're going to put 2 in for r. Boom. We'll have to square this first. All right. We're going to multiply these two. 4 times pi is 12.6. Okay. And then to solve for h, we're going to have to divide both sides by 12.6. This will cancel out, and we're left with h equals 7.9. You could probably call that 8. That would be okay. And it's really close, so, and that kind of makes it a little nicer, but in this case, 7.9. All right. Now let's give this one a shot. This time, no radius. All right. And we're given the height. So see what you can do to solve this. Pause the video. Give it a shot, and when you're ready, hit play. There is one extra step in this problem. Okay, the last step is going to be to square root both sides, so that might help you. So let's give it a shot. So here's the formula. 251 is going to go in for volume. 5 is going to go in for height. We don't know r, so this is what we're solving for. We're solving for r squared. All right, so here we go. I'm going to multiply the given values, 5 and pi, is 15.7 times r squared, so I combine these. I'm going to divide both sides by 15.7. That goes away. And I'm given 15.9 equals r squared, which is really close. I think actually when I put it in my calculator, it was 15.98. It's essentially 16. So I got to ask myself, well, what is the square root of 16? So I'm going to square root both sides. That cancels out the little 2 here and the square root symbol. So all you're left with is r. And about 15.9, the square root of 59.9 is about 4. Okay. You could call it 3.9 or 3.89 or whatever it ends up being, but 4 is okay. All right. So I hope this video helps, and I will see you guys next time.